stream. So if you guys want to just line up that clock, it's 2:05 and ticking up with whatever you're seeing on that IHF live streaming video of the game. And that'll be the best way to sync up what we're saying with what you're seeing. And what you're seeing right now is the first goal for the Americans of the day. A nice goal over there on the left side. And it is 1-0 as Puerto Rico brings it back down for another offensive attempt. Ladies, I know you got a chance to watch the game yesterday with Puerto Rico versus Canada. Who stood out for you the most on this Puerto Rican offense?
Definitely, we're gonna go with Yadielis Barros. She had 6 goals yesterday, and then number 7, Lorraine Rodriguez, had 10.
Yeah, that's right. And they got their first goal in that last possession right there. So it's tied up 1-1 as Puerto Rico comes back after a nice goal save by Puerto Rico. Offensive charging foul called right there against Puerto Rico. And it'll be the Americans' ball coming back down the left side. A nice left wing shot saved by the Puerto Rican goalie.
And it looks like the United States is starting out with the same starting lineup as yesterday, and they're also doing that defensive offensive switch with Lisa and Hannah. So that's something that worked to their favor yesterday, and they're going to try it again today.
Yep, you'll see Lisa Reddy and her sister Maya Reddy being those, as we call them, the three defenders. On that defensive 6 meter line for the defense, you've got six defenders, and the two in the middle are normally the biggest, tallest, and strongest defenders on the court playing those three positions. Unfortunately, the Reedy sisters didn't have anything to do with that as the Puerto Rican right wing was able to get a goal on the right side, making it 2-1 now for Puerto Rico. Americans moving it left to right. You'll see a lot of the switching left wing coming into the second circle now. And nice shot from the left wing over there. I can't quite see that number running on the far side, but left wing getting that first, or excuse me, second goal now for America. I know that makes Viva proud on the left wing, her position on the handball court as well.
Exactly. That was Lucy Brachos with the shot, and that was her second shot of the game. So already pushing it more towards the left side of the court than they were yesterday.
Foul award on the left side for Puerto Rico. Again, in handball, you can foul unlimitedly as long as you're doing it safely and under control. As a defender, you have to keep your body in between the offensive player with the ball and the goal. And as long as you're able to wrap that offensive player up, you'll be able to get a common foul. Right there is a nice fluff shot over the top by number 7, Lorraine Rodriguez, the leading scorer for Puerto Rico after one game yesterday. Turnover by the Americans, and Puerto Rico has their first fast break of the day. And it's another goal for Puerto Rico, now up 4-2 against the Americans. Viva, this is kind of similar to what we saw yesterday, as the Americans are having a little bit of trouble handling the ball on the outside, and Puerto Rico is off to a quick 2-goal lead.
Yeah, I think just like I said yesterday, working on getting a little bit of a faster start and getting into game mode more quickly will definitely help. Already a 2 goal deficit. I'm sure the US is going to easily bounce back, but it's easier to end the game on a high note when you don't start the game, down a couple goals.
That's right. Foul awarded right there for the Americans. They'll reset at 9 meters. Center back giving the signal to get the play going on the right side right here. Empty cross. And now the right back's got a full head of steam running down the middle. Foul awarded. Common foul will be another 9 meter throw in right here on that last shot. That was the game winning score yesterday. Isabella De Cruz, the right back for the Americans. Nice tack by the center back. And that's going to be another goal for the Americans. 4-3 now. Puerto Rico is with a quick, fast start after the goal. As soon as that goal is scored, as quickly as the offense wants to get it to midcourt, they can reset. And you see them putting a little bit of pressure on the American defense coming back quickly after that last American goal. Looks like a penalty. First penalty has been awarded on the day right here. Perhaps number, can't quite tell what number that is, shooting for Puerto Rico. American goalie in defense. We might miss the shot. It looks like with the celebration from the Americans that it was saved. How does that feel, Amber, getting a save on the first penalty shot of the day?
Yeah, that's a great way to get going. You could carry that throughout the whole day, whole tournament, maybe even.
Puerto Rico backs it up with another save of their own after the left wing for America doesn't come up with the score right there. Turnover for Puerto Rico. America's got it again. DeCruz sends it back to the center back. And nice shot from the left wing again. Left wing coming through with the scores. You say that was Lucy, I believe, correct, Viva, on the left
Cor-
wing?
Correct. And I think another positive for the US team already is that multiple different goal scorers. So that was Lucy's second, but we also had Maya and Hannah. So just having a variety of assets on the offensive end is going to help us further into the game.
Puerto Rico has the cross up top and not able to control the ball. Might be the first fast break of the day for the Americans. And goal stuck in the top right-hand corner. That's another goal, I believe, for Lucy, the left wing, sprinting down the court for a fast break for the Americans to take a 5-4 lead here early in the first half. 8 minutes in right here. We got about 22 minutes left. Puerto Rico has it up, down one now in this first half of game two of the IHF World Cup qualifier. Puerto Rico with the ball up top, saved by the goalie. And America will set it up on a half court offense right here as the players run down to set it up. Seeing a lot of empty crosses yesterday. That was a pretty quick setup. And again, for Lucy on the outside from the left wing, this time unable to get the shot scored as the Puerto Rico goalie is able to push it away. Amber Kaufman joining us today, of course, is one of the goalies from the San Francisco Cal Heat Club team. Whenever you're trying to defend a wing shot, we've seen Lucy get two in for the Americans. What's your go-to move whenever you're defending those wing shots, Amber?
My number one goal is to not get nutmegged. But there I saw she scored twice in the same corner and then the goalie covered it up. So it becomes a game back and forth, but I just don't want to get nutmegged mostly.
No five holes for Amber. Got it. So we make sure.
Happens all day though, all day.
All right. Set shot by the Puerto Rican center back is going to be given back in the instance of a foul right here against America. So Puerto Rico will set it back up at the top of the 9 meters and get ready to move it around. Their center back is number 7, Lorraine Rodriguez. She works it back and forth with Yadielis Bajos on the outside. Another foul, I believe, will be awarded here on the right side as the right back for Puerto Rico attacked. And actually, it looks like it may be possibly a 2 minute or a penalty. It looks like it's definitely going to be a penalty award. I'm not sure whether or not a 2 minute was given or not, but it looks like the offensive player was able to attack and America was found in poor defensive position and now a penalty's been awarded. We might not see it, but if we see some Americans with their hands up, it might be another save. Here we go for the penalty attempt by number 7, Rodriguez. She dekes and kick save by the American goalie. 0 for 2 now for Puerto
Impressive.
Rico from the penalty. The American goalie, did we figure out who the goalie was for America? I'm not quite sure who that was. Did you get that for us, Viva?
I believe it's Sophia Menchaca. So she was on our team for the last World Championships last year, so she's a great goalkeeper.
Menchaca now with 2 saves early on from the penalty stripe for America. So that is huge. As we spoke yesterday and we saw Maya Reedy for America go about 4 for 4 from the penalty stripe for America, is almost thought of as a free throw attempt when an offensive player is able to have that free shot on goal. So for the American goalie to get 2 saves this early on from the penalty area is a really, really strong start for the American goalie. She's got to be feeling good going into this game.
Yeah, I gotta be feeling planetary, huge in there.
Puerto Rico's got it now 5-4. They'll send it left to right. Attack on the right side. Referee called a travel right there for too many steps, and it'll quickly go back the Americans' way as they set it up here in the half court. Viva, yesterday we saw a lot of empty switches on the right side, but I heard you keep calling for a little bit more action on the left. We saw that for Lucy early on in this game. We'll see if she's able to get something like that going right here as well.
Absolutely. It really looks like the wing the one wing defender on the right side, or Lucy's side, is maybe playing far over and hugging onto the back, and so they're doing a great job of getting her the passes, and she's been able to connect on a few of them. So it's looking good so far.
Turnover right there, unfortunately for the Americans, and Puerto Rico will come back up with it still down 4-5, and they turn it over as well. Ball security has been a little bit suspect for all the teams we've seen so far. This is a fast break opportunity and another early one for Lucy on the left wing. Fast break now, her third goal of this game so far. Yesterday she had 2 goals. Today she's already up to 3. So nice start for Lucy on the left wing side, both on the half court and in the fast break. Yesterday, Amber was clamoring for more fast breaks. We didn't get so many, but today Lucy's got a couple quickly.
Yeah, I like to see those deep balls or sluggo in football, slant and go, just tight spirals down the court.
There you go. Here we go now with Puerto Rico setting it up after a USA foul, gets the ball reset at 9 meters. Center back attacks. Nice little pass behind the back. And although it was kind of a hard handle to catch on that pass, she was able to get it and kind of push it over the goalie's head for another score for Puerto Rico. It's now 5-6 now as America sets it up on the offensive side. Quick ball movement right here is going to get a open shot. Oh, unfortunately, a travel call that time by the referees. I thought that we had a nice open shot for Heine Pazinski coming on the right wing, but a travel was called as De Cruz was trying to get that pass over to the right wing. I agree totally, Viva. You kind of see that last defender for Puerto Rico, as we would call the one defender, kind of cheating up to help allowing the backcourt players, has left the American wings open a lot to start this game.
Right. And another thing I noticed for the US squad is I believe there's only one left-handed player. That's Issa De Cruz. And so normally you'd like to see maybe 4 left-handed players on a roster. So that's something that the US has had to kind of deal with and adapt to. So you see Heine, she's a right-handed player playing on the right wing. A little bit of a more difficult shot, but she's been doing a good job of continuing to shoot and find her spots in the goal.
Seeing a lot of pace now as Puerto Rico gets another goal, this time by number 6, Delianne Riviera. She scores it for Puerto Rico, but America gets it quickly out of the back of the net and is going to be Maya Reedy's first penalty attempt on the day. Again, I believe yesterday she might have been 4 for 4 for her penalty, so she'll try to get it going here for America, who's essentially perfect from the penalty stripe so far, even though the first 2 penalties were on the defensive side. And as we see the American teams in the backcourt right there raising their hands, we'll assume that Maya Reedy keeps the streak going and scoring another one right here for America from the penalty strike. That makes her 5 for 5 here in her first 2 games here from the penalty. Puerto Rico has it now on the offensive side, moving it back and forth as they're getting some live substitutions going right here. Center back attacks to the middle. Circle moves left, and Puerto Rico having trouble securing the ball. It looks like it will be a turnover right here as the cameraman has already got it set up for the American offensive possession.
Yeah, so the Reedy sisters, do they have dual citizenship, correct? Because I remember yesterday we were talking they're from Norway. Maybe we could talk about that.
Yeah, correct. So their father is American and was really big on the handball scene in the US, and their mother played professional handball in Norway along with Ia's mom. So they got to know each other that way when they played against each other. And so, yeah, there's 3 Norwegians on the team, and then of course the Reedies have another older sister, Emma.
Beautiful. I love it.
Look at that space on the wing shot there.
And saved that time by Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, Lucy unable to get her 4th goal of the game from over there on the left wing, but Americans still holding on to a 7-6 lead right now. Our ticker a little bit behind, but the Americans up now 7-6 right here, halfway through the first half with just over 14 minutes to go. Again, want to remind anybody tuning in right now to like and subscribe to the Handball Show as you see Puerto Rico getting a goal right here and going up now to, I believe, tying it up 8-8. And Lucy gets a shot, almost gets her own rebound. Looks like it's 8-7 now, as you see the camera panning back past the scoreboard in the gym. But that's right. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Handball Show to make sure you get live notifications every time we go live for these games, and also for the frequent updates that you get with podcasts on the channel with our executive producer and director, Martin Biello, behind the scenes, bringing us all together to help bring you guys some handball this afternoon. Puerto Rico setting it up right here on the outside after the American foul, and they'll get ready to get it going again. Both teams full, playing a 6-on-6. Americans playing flat today after going 5-1 occasionally yesterday, but they're staying flat so far on this defense. Although you see one of the Reedy sisters kind of hugging that 9-meter line, extending the 6 flat just a little bit. Turnover right there will give the ball back to the Americans. And again, you see them getting a little bit of pace right here on the secondary, breaking another wing attempt for Lucy. That one's going to be pushed away and saved, but the ball does not go over the end line, actually over the sideline. So that'll be a corner throw in now for the Americans. And a nice little bounce pass to the goalie, or to Maya right there, but it is saved by the goalie. She had a nice wide open shot right there. Nice pass from the center back to get her set up, but she was unable to throw it by. Puerto Rico will bring it back.
And
And we
that's something that I think the U.S. team can improve on a little bit is just getting the ball to the pivot a lot more. Maya and Lisa are in there working really hard, and they have a lot of a size advantage on most of the teams here. So if we can get them the ball and they can at least turn and draw a penalty, if nothing else, I think that'll provide a nice spark for the U.S. side.
agree with that, Viva. You can see number 17, Maya Reedy, right in front of the ball right there, trying to plug things up. I feel like you hit the nail on the head. She does have a little bit of a size advantage as the Americans get a nice pass down. That was a great run right there by Heine Pinsky to make herself available right on the 6-meter line on that break to get a nice goal for the Americans. But I agree 100%. It looks like, as you can see, both Reedy sisters kind of hugging that Puerto Rico pivot right there in the middle. It looks like they might have a little bit of size vertically and horizontally against her. So you'd like to see them use their size to their advantage, not only on the defensive side, as you can see right now as they set up, but even on the offensive side as well. You see both Reedy sisters coming together and high-fiving as they send the Puerto Rico player to the floor. Again, as long as the hit is under control, the goalies back there love to see a little bit aggressive play from the defenders.
Got a little bit of sweat on the floor. What I'm noticing is Puerto Rico subbing a lot, but then they're taking their time on offense. So it's not really having the effect that you would want a ton of subbing to have on the Americans who are not subbing very much.
Yeah, it was yesterday the Americans did not sub a lot, but based off of our stat sheet right here, it looks like all players have been able to get some court time and on the field. So the American coaches, although relying heavily on their most consistent scorers like Isabella de Cruz and Maya Reedy, they are also getting a lot of help, a lot of minutes to keep their team fresh through these games. Puerto Rico coming with the attack right now. Americans break it up and make them reset. If Puerto Rico doesn't get something soon, you might expect to see a stalling warning given. And they kind of felt that pressure too as they kind of went with a quick shot from the right back side. And it is now going to be America ball coming back down. It's 9-7. You see the Reedy sister jumping up and down, trying to get that ball right there. She felt like she was open. She might still have an opportunity. Uh, looks like Puerto Rico is able to get the save and they'll push it back. Just over 10 minutes remaining. Puerto Rico will take their first time out of the half right here. Kind of seeing what we saw yesterday. Puerto Rico got out to an early lead against America, but the Americans have been able to come back and get a 2-goal lead right here with just over 11 minutes left. Viva, so far, it's been pretty good showing right here for America on both the offense and defensive side. I'll let you kind of tell us what you're seeing on offense in about 15 or 20 seconds and then give Amber a chance to tell us what she's seeing on the defensive side.
Yeah, I've been liking the quicker tempo. Yeah, I've been Really liking the quicker tempo of the American side, really pushing for the fast breaks, and then having a wider variety of scorers for sure.
Yeah, on the defensive end, it's always nice to see those Reedy sisters keeping it tight in there, and they probably have a the sibling intuition together. They know where each other are going to be, so it's probably nice playing behind them. And then the two penalty shots. I mean, that's living in the heads of Puerto Rico. I'm sure they're going to have to switch up some shots, some off speeds, and things like that.
All right, as Puerto Rico gets ready to run it back here on offense, we want to welcome and thank everybody that's watching with us this afternoon. Again, want to remind everybody to both like and subscribe to the Handball Show. And as we're getting it going right here, please leave us some comments. Talk to us right here. We want to know who's out there on YouTube watching us here on the commentary as we watch this IHF World Cup qualifier game as the Americans give a foul right here at 9 meters and Puerto Rico resets. 9-7 lead for the Americans. They've been doing a pretty good job holding the Puerto Rico attack at bay in the half court. We see their lead scorer going to attack right here and another foul given. Their lead scorer again is Lorraine Rodriguez for Puerto Rico. She's number 7, and she's backed up with their second leader scorer, the center back, number 9, Yarielis Bajos. Another mop up right here. The ladies are literally living their sweat and blood on the floor, it looks like. Hopefully no tears yet for anybody. Hope everybody's having a good time out here as we get the ball reset. Puerto Rico on the attack. Nice move left to right and great help defense right there. Great defense for the 2 defender. And again, that 3 defender with that Reedy sister right there to help. One person wraps and then one person runs right over to finish up the defense. And that's how you keep those gaps secure. It's always 1.5 man. You have to be able to guard not only the person in front of you, but be able to have at least half of a man's worth of help to your left and right when you're trying to help that defensive line stay set. America bringing it back up in the half court setting. Viva, who are you looking to from the Americans right here as we come down to the final minutes of this first half?
Well, I think Issa, with her game-winning goal yesterday, she's looking to have another great game, and she's definitely got a height advantage over some of the shorter Puerto Rican defenders. So if she can use that momentum to get a nice shot like she did yesterday, I think that'd be great.
She's got the ball right now looking for the attack. She passes to the center back, and the ball was saved, but it looks like we're going to have a penalty attempt as it looks like the defender got up a little bit around the neck and behind on that defense right there. So Maya Reedy will come up for another penalty attempt for the Americans. Again, she is perfect, I believe, from the penalty stripe so far in this tournament. As you see the running clock continue, even as she goes up for the penalty. Based off the lack of celebration that I see from the American side this time, I will have to assume that she was unable to keep that perfect streak going from the penalty stripe. So Puerto Rico will bring it back up down 2 now with about 7.5 minutes to go here in the first half. The center
We'll
back
call it
and
announcer jinx.
yeah, that was it, right? I mean, I've kind of been trying for a little while. I kept saying how perfect it has
True.
been for the Americans today. They were able to hold it off for a little bit, but again, it's like a free throw, but even the best free throw shooters in the world only shoot about 90%. So as long as Maya can keep the overall trajectory going on those penalty shots, they should be okay for the Americans. Right now, they're getting it set up in the half court setting and a turnover right there. That's an example of the referees kind of giving both advantage and disadvantage to the offensive player. The offensive player, although contacted by the defense, she did have a free arm as she tried to pass it down to the left wing, but whenever she turned it over, the referees kind of run with their hands up in the air saying, that's a turnover. So Puerto Rico will bring it back up. They've got it in the half court. Honestly, Viva, and you can tell me what you've seen as the center back does get a goal going right to left right there. We'll come back to that as it looks like the Americans are going to take a timeout right now as Puerto Rico has got it now 8-9, down by one with just over 7 minutes ago. But again, back to you, Viva. I feel like on the Puerto Rican offensive side of the floor, to me, it only seems like they're really pushing it very hard offensively with their two players, number seven, Lorraine Rodriguez, and number nine, Yadi Ellis Bajo. So I haven't really seen a whole lot of work from the centers, excuse me, the circle, pivot, or the wing players. So are you seeing a lot of half court sets being run, or is this kind of more like a freelance for the Puerto Rican offense?
I think they're starting with a little bit of a set and then just allowing their two best players to kind of create for themselves. And I see that they're really liking to create between the 2 and 3 gaps. So that's where the block four really needs to come in and step up so that they can't get into those gaps and force them to make another pass that could be an error. So just trying to limit the creativity of their two best players.
Defensively, Amber, when you have two players that are really kind of doing the brunt of the work offensively like that, would you rather just keep the defense flat, or do you ever like to kind of go out into a shadow and just chase and deny those players from getting the ball?
Yeah, I'd like to bother them, chase them around, make them a little annoyed, be a shadow.
So far, the Americans have been able to keep the offense at least in check enough to maintain the lead. We'll see if they do anything differently defensively, either at the end of the first half or going into the second. Americans sending that circle in on a little cross and a nice goal as the ball is again pushed through to the bottom left quadrant of the goal. And the Americans take a 2-goal to lead here just over 5 minutes to go in the first half. We'll see as number nine and number seven continue to do most of the offensive work right here. Nice tie up with a nice strong grip on that ball hand wrist. There's nothing she could do, and the ball get reset right here for the Puerto Ricans. Lorraine Rodriguez sends it back to Yadi Ellis, and she'll send it back to the right side. Again, number seven and number nine up top doing most of the attacking. And right on cue, the right wing has a nice shot attempt, but sends it wide outside the goal, and the Americans will come back. More than likely look to push a little secondary break as the Puerto Rican defense is already back and set. Oh, there goes the Cruz. A nice pass behind the back. And by nice pass, I mean nice attempts. Nice attempted pass behind the back as she throws it out of bounds. And Puerto Rico will bring the ball back up.
Lisa in there as pivot is pretty open, so I think if they can get it to her and get the ball down the court quicker, they'll find her open with a very wide angle on the goal.
I agree. She's had her hands up a few times, kind of looking for the ball. I haven't been able to squeeze it into her yet, but as long as the American coaches are seeing this, I'm sure there'll be a plenty of opportunity for them to get some of those passes in within as this game continues on. And a blocking foul right there called against the Puerto Rican circle as she put a little bit too much emphasis into that screen as she tried to get the center back open, and America will come back again with the ball in the half court set. And then, right on cue, they try to force it into the circle, but without much ball movement side to side, it made it really difficult to make that pass happen. And in the fast break, they're able to come back and make the Americans pay for that poor turnover and that last possession. So Viva, you're right. They tried to get it into her, but the defense was a little bit too tight there. And another save for Puerto Rico as the left wing is unable to score it for America. Things have been pretty tight right here as we have just under 5 minutes left. Clock is a little bit off center from what we're seeing on the broadcast compared to what we're seeing in the gym, but it looks like they've almost got it back set up. Just about 4.5 minutes remaining here in the first half, and Puerto Rico looks to get the attack set back up.
Yeah, I'd like to see someone come up on Yadi Ellis. She just kind of has all day, all this space in the middle of the court.
We saw a little bit from the American defense yesterday getting into that 5-1. I do agree 100%, Amber, that maybe just sliding out a little bit into a 5-1. If you got the two best players on your offense standing right next to each other, if you can just make that back and forth passing between the two a little bit more difficult, it could go a long way. As the left wing for the Americans again is unable to get the goal past the Puerto Rican goalkeeper, and Puerto Rico will bring it up again. Perhaps it looks like there may have been a turnover here on the backside or a foul called. But regardless, the Reedy sister has it pulled up again, and they'll try to get another offensive possession going. It's hard to tell as the camera's getting centered.
We'll watch the arms.
Yeah, we're trying to, nothing else. If we can't see the play, maybe we can get an idea looking at the referees right here. Sometimes when I look at this court, I feel like I'm back at the gym in Fremont. It's not the basketball court with those gray walls and all the flags on the outside. It kind of reminds me of some of those Cal Heat practices, Amber.
Yeah, those banners are very, very similar. And they're also not using any stickum here. So very similar ball also.
Puerto Rico's got it up top again. The backcourt players, nice defense right there from the Reedy sister. She's putting players down and picking them up left and right at the same time. Puerto Rico will throw the ball in from 9 meters, and they'll more than likely be looking for their backcourt players, Rodriguez and Bajos, to get things going. A new center back on the floor as the referees have their hand up for a stall warning. Maybe one more pass, and you'll see the shot coming up soon. Unfortunately, a turnover. America will have to reset. They didn't quite have the ball in place right there for the reset. So the referee was giving the spot of the foul, I believe, and you'll see them rolling the ball back behind the play to get the ball reset at the right spot. So a tightly contested first half right here. The Americans have a 1-goal lead as we come close to the end, and a nice slip pass to the circle as Maya Reedy gets another goal, this time from the 6-meter line. Oh boy, big impact and collision here as the Puerto Rican offense goes hard into the defense of the Americans and then throws the ball away. America comes back quickly and gets another quick goal over there from the left wing. That was an interesting play from Puerto Rico on that last one. Maybe a little bit of frustration right there after Maya Reedy had that goal, trying to get it back a little bit too quickly and turned it over and resulted in another quick goal for the Americans. Looks like we got a new center back on the court for Puerto Rico, number 25, Aaliyah Vizcarrondo, as she runs and hands the ball off to number 9, Bajos. And Puerto Rico reset. Any different type of defensive setup right here with just a minute left on the clock, Amber?
No, I think at this point, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're doing a good job. I think we may have gotten that save as well. Fast break? No.
Got some players running down court.
I know the Americans would love to keep at least this 3-goal lead and possibly extend it going into the half.
And right there, it looks like it will be extended right on cue. 4-goal lead now with 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Puerto Rico will try to close the gap a little bit as the Americans have started to put a little bit of space in between themselves and Puerto Rico as we come to the end of the first half of this game 2 for both Puerto Rico and the United States. Again, I would say about 70 to 80% of the offensive action has been between the left back and center back for Puerto Rico. There goes the left back again as she has the ball deflected. And that's going to be the end of the first half. 13-9 is our score after one half of play. The Americans have opened up pretty much right like they finished off yesterday after their closing moments game winner against Mexico. They have brought it back out today for a 4-goal lead in the first half. My name is Anthony Scott Knox. I'm here with Amber Kaufman and Viva Chris. We are in game 2. Today is the first game of day 2 of the IHF Trophy and World Cup qualifier being held in Drummondville, Canada. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get our thoughts together, get some water and some snacks, and we'll come back and talk with you all a little bit more just a few moments before we get started the second half. Again, you guys are watching the Handball Show. Take a quick break, and while you're doing that, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. All right, everybody, we are back now for the second half of this matchup of the United States versus Puerto Rico. The U20 girls junior national teams are taking on competition this afternoon. Score is 9-13 in the first half, and America's got the 4-goal lead here as we get the second half underway. My name is Anthony Scott Knox, and I'm here with you all with Amber Kaufman and Viva Chris. Amber Kaufman is a player for the San Francisco Cal Heat Women's Club, and Viva Chris is a former member of this U20 junior national team, and she's working on getting her European career going as she just graduated from Arizona State earlier this year. So we're here with you all trying to get everything going here in the second half, and we will make sure we got some good handball content and commentary coming for you all. Looks like we got an early goal right here, or early penalty attempt, that is. And another Reedy sister connection. This time it looks like it was not a Reedy sister.
I think it might be Ia Hanovic.
That
So
was
another
you're right. That was
Norwegian.
Ia Hanovic this time with the goal for the Americans from the penalty stripe. So a quick goal from the penalty stripe to start it off here for the Americans. And we'll see as Puerto Rico gets it set up here on the offensive side that again, it has been the left side, as you see, of their attack that has been the featured spot on their offense. The center back and left back, and there's a center back right on cue, Delian Riviera, getting the score for the Puerto Ricans. Nice slip to the circle for America. And another penalty awarded. This time it looks like the defenders were inside of 6. And when you're standing inside of 6 meters, when we say that that is the goalkeeper's area, that's the goalkeeper's area. The defenders can't be there. The offensive players can't be there. So it looks like defense was set up inside of 6, and that'll be another penalty score attempt and score. It looks like Ia Hanovic has taken some of those penalty shots this time for the Americans in the offensive side for their penalties.
Nice to see her get going. She had a couple goals yesterday and was goose egged in the first half, so it's nice to see them put her on the line.
2 quick ones for the penalty stripe, and then the Puerto Rico comes back with a attack on the right back side from Delian Riviera. And the Americans have opened up a pretty nice little lead right here, still up 4-0 here in the second half. I would tell you all to try to match up your clock that you're seeing on the screen with our clock so you'll keep everything live, but it doesn't look like they've got their clock rolling yet from the feed coming from Drummondville, Canada. But another goal for the Americans after they were able to get another slip to the circle. I believe that was Maya Reedy with the circle conversion for America. Puerto Rico's got on the offensive side and they'll move it left to right.
Two interesting things happening now. Puerto Rico is sending 7 players in, so they're substituting their goalie to have an additional pivot in there. And then it seems like the U.S. is playing a 5-1 defense to get a little hand in the passing lane and try to disturb the back-to-back passes.
That's really a great eye. You can actually see that right now. It looks like the cameraman's trying to help us out to see how they're doing that 7-player offense. So, like Viva said, sometimes the offense can choose to remove their goalie in favor of having a 7th player on the offensive side. And right there, America's able to get a nice attack down the middle for another goal. 17-11 now for US. We'll see if Puerto Rico keeps going with that 7-player offense.
As a goalie, it's definitely not my favorite. One, the running, but two, it really leaves you open to those long goalie shots even, which you don't want the other goalie scoring on you.
Puerto Rico now coming back. Not quite sure what happened on the offensive side of the ball for Puerto Rico, but the Americans will dribble it back up right here and get it set up in the half court. Ia Hanovic in the left back position. Hannah Schluter playing center back right now. And it looks like we'll have a wing in for a second circle. Nice play right there to give a position shot. Looks like it could have been open right there on the left wing, but we didn't quite have that angle. was a nice setup right there for the offense for the Americans, and then they were able to still get it going right there with a shot on the right side of the six for another goal as they continue to expand their lead now to 7 here in the second half. Puerto Rico on the offensive side right now continue to try to break through the offense. Now, it looks like they were having a little bit of trouble, not only in the end of the first half, but as we started here in the second half, which is why they were going with that seventh court player. The cameraman's letting us know that the goalie is still on court. So we are seeing 6-on-6 play right now. We see the goalie is still there.
Think I'm on a roller coaster ride with this cameraman, but we're fortunate to have the feed, even if it's a little bit
Oh,
wavy
goodness.
and wonky.
That's going to be a 2 minute, I would imagine, right there, as the offensive player was not only upended, but upended by the neck on that last play. So Puerto Rico going to be down one player right here, and there will be no penalty shot awarded, but the Americans will have a 6 versus 5 opportunity right here. Viva, what's your go-to on a 6 versus 5 opportunity on the offensive side?
Yeah, I'd like to see them start the action on one side of the court and then pass it, move it completely to the other side of the court, and either, one of the backs or the wings take the shot so that they create the advantage and have an opening.
And there it was. Oh, almost, not quite. Turnover on the offensive side. Puerto Rico still pushing it, even though they are down a player. We'll see if they try to salt away a little bit of this clock without resulting in another passive play penalty. Puerto Rico's got it. They are playing without a right wing right now. So in absence of a player, they're just going with a right back as the end of their offense right here. She's got it, number 6. And that was a what I would call a false attempt at attack. Again, they were just trying to milk away some of this penalty time to get back even. Another attack, another foul that Puerto Rico is more than happy to accept, and they'll take their time as they reset right here. We'll be looking at the referees in the blue shirts to see if they raise a hand to give a passive play warning anytime soon right here. I'm not sure if the clock is still running. If it is, they're doing a really good job milking away some of this penalty on this offensive attack.
Yeah, so it's not like soccer where you can kind of waste time, and you don't get any repercussions, right?
Nice goal off the post right there. It's tough to give up a goal when you're playing up one person, but the Americans are officially down a goal in this penalty 2-minute area.
And the referees have been letting the players, play with more contact, especially in the first half. We really didn't see many 2 minutes, so it's good to see that now they're kind of halting that contact and saying this is not permittable early on here in the second.
Another turnover for the Americans will mean 2 empty possessions on their 2-minute penalty right here, and the Puerto Ricans will more than likely be able to salt away at least most of this penalty right here on the offensive side, as they have now gone up 2-0 on this 2-minute penalty time for the Americans. So the Americans giving up 2 goals and not able to score while being up one player right here is not what they were hoping for. And again, another goose egg on the offensive attack for Americans when they were up by one player right here. So we'll check the clock and we'll check. It looks like the right wing is back on the floor for Puerto Rico. Looks like they are full with all 6 players on the court. And unfortunate for the Americans to drop 2 goals right there and not be able to score any when they were up by one player.
Messed with our flow. We had 6-on-6. We were doing amazing.
They were even doing better when they were down 7-6. Oh, another strong contact. And the Puerto Rico player looks like she is in some pain right here on the floor. Bring in some health professionals and some mop boys to clean up the mess. Hopefully she's able to get up soon. While they are tending to her, the momentum seems to have swung back towards Puerto Rico. The Americans had opened it up to a 5-goal lead up until that 2-minute penalty was awarded, but then gave up 2 quick goals after two empty offensive possessions. How do they settle themselves on the offensive side right here, Viva?
I think just take a deep breath and reset. Of course, that's not what you want to see. Giving up two goals when you should have an advantage, but I think still have a three-goal lead. Just stay calm and keep control of the game.
They'll look to get some of that control back right here. Attacking left to right and a nice, there you go, nice open play. Again, a little bit of the left to right, attacking outside, attacking inside, and then creating that opportunity on the right side for the right back player. And now a 2-minute penalty awarded. I did not see exactly what happened right there, but I did notice earlier that the referee had been telling the ladies to kind of calm it down a little bit. So the Reedy sister was out with a pretty aggressive hit at about 14 meters outside the goal. It looked like the referee felt like she was being a little bit too aggressive, too far away from the goal, and has resulted in a 2-minute penalty against the Americans. So we'll see if maybe they are somehow able to find some momentum while they are down a player like Puerto Rico did just a moment ago. But right off the bat, Puerto Rico is able to get a goal and now cut it to a 3-goal lead now for the Americans as the score is now 16-19.
We'll see if the US team stays with this 5-on-6 pattern or if they're going to substitute in a player for their goalkeeper.
So far, it looks like the Americans are playing without getting in that extra player. Foul is not awarded, and Puerto Rico is on the attack again, still up 1 player. They should have about a minute and a half remaining on that penalty while they'll be up a player against the Americans. Puerto Rico sending the ball left to right, still up a player. They want to be quick, but not too quick to make sure that they get a nice attack. Ball was in the net, but unfortunately, that was the net behind the goal right there. So no goal right there for Puerto Rico, and we'll see if the Americans are able to both milk away a few minutes and seconds off of this 2-minute penalty while perhaps being able to draw even within this 2-minute penalty period, as the Puerto Ricans are up now 1-0 during this quick 2-minute period. Should have 1 minute to go now on the penalty clock as the Americans attack. Foul awarded against America. That was a charging call as the center back crashed into the Puerto Rican defense where the players were set. Kind of like in basketball, like an offensive foul, wouldn't you say, Amber?
Yeah, definitely. It feels pretty much exactly the same, but more contact.
Always more contact. As Puerto Rico is able to score another goal right now. Not 100% sure that the score you see right here, 17-19, is accurate. Okay, it looks like it as they pan back to the score in the gym. Americans are now even on the court. I was just about to say they should be evening up soon. It is now 6-on-6 on the floor. And it looks like another offensive foul, maybe a traveling penalty against America's Puerto Rico is now set it up on the offensive side. And a lot of back and forth action right here. Not sure what the stoppage on the court is.
I would say that the US has been doing a great job of retreating and preventing the fast breaks for Puerto Rico. I really haven't seen Puerto Rico score any fast breaks this.
Yeah, Lucy Brascos, I'm just watching her because she's very close to the screen, but I see her running up and down and up and down, not letting that fast break happen on her side, at least. You wingers are watching.
So I saw the referee run over to the Puerto Rico bench right there. It looks like on that last possession there was an illegal substitution, which is going to result in another 2-minute penalty against Puerto Rico. And this time the Americans are able to take advantage of that man-up position and get a quick goal off of the 2-minute penalty. So right now we've got 6 American players on the court playing against 5 Puerto Ricans, and it looks like Puerto Rico is going without a left wing right here. The right wing this time has remained on the floor, and we'll see if Puerto Rico is able to milk away some of the clock while still able to get some goals like they did on the last penalty time that they had. On this one, the American goalkeeper, Sofia Menchaca, is able to get the save, and same thing on the other side as Puerto Rico gets the save. Still down a player, and now down 3 goals. So America up 1 goal right here on this 2-minute penalty as Puerto Rico will slow things down a little bit, passing the ball back and forth. trying to milk some clock.
Yeah, I noticed they had some substitutions Puerto Rico early in the late in the first half, but now it seems to be the same 5 or 6 and a little bit of hands on hips, hands on knees, so maybe they're getting a little tired.
Fatigue certainly starting to set in right here as we're approaching the halfway point in the second half. 20-17 is the score. Not sure what happened, but I do see some Americans running on the fast break. There comes the ball. And a shot from the right wing side is scored and good for a 21-17 lead now for the Americans. A Puerto Rico player on the floor. Again, not quite sure what happened on that last play, but perhaps a little slip or maybe some contact from the defense has gotten a Puerto Rico player on the floor and now being carried off the floor. I hope she's okay, as two of the Puerto Rican officials have carried a player off the court. Best wishes to her, and hopefully she'll be able to get back on the court sometime soon. But for right now, 21-17, Puerto Rico will come back up after the Americans were able to get a fast break attempt. Viva, what do you prefer? Do you prefer a nice long fast break score? Do you prefer a score running up the left wing from the corner and sticking in the top of the corner?
I do like a fast break. It feels good to get a defensive stop and then run on that fast break, save some of my teammates a little bit of running back and forth, and get that quick goal.
Definitely. I would be one of your teammates appreciating you sprinting down the court. As long as you're cashing a goal, I'll take the break. Puerto Rico now with it in the half court. The defense in the half court, again, has been pretty solid for the Americans. As we mentioned in the first half for Puerto Rico, they've got two main scorers, number 7, Lorraine Rodriguez, and number 9, Yarielis Barros. They've been doing the primary scoring today as well. Also, that new center back, you see her with the ball, number 25 at the top of the court, Aaliyah Vizcarrondo, has been coming in and providing a little bit of a spark for Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that Yadi Ellis is the player down for Puerto Rico. That would be a really big hit.
Didn't see the score go through the goal, but did see the update on the scoreboard. Puerto Rico able to score on their last offense possession is now 21-18 now. As you see, Hannah Schluter giving the hand signals for a little swirl coming right here on the left side. As you have a double cross, circle going around the center back and the left back coming in for the Americans. We'll see if the left wing is able to get the shot. She gets the shot, but it looks like it was saved by Puerto Rico. The Americans, again, back quickly on the defensive side to set up for another Puerto Rico half-court set.
Again, staying deep on defense, just holding that line. It's been working pretty well.
Vizcarrondo with the ball up top for Puerto Rico, down by 3 with just over 15 minutes remaining here in the second half. The clock is definitely working up there on the scoreboard. I see it. Americans coming down. A lot of space in the middle right there, and it is eaten up by the Reedy sister, Maya Reedy, with a score on the 6-meter line. And Puerto Rico pulls it right back up for the fast break opportunity. And it looks like a penalty has been awarded, as well as a 2-minute call. Again, I think that might be Maya Reedy coming off the court. That's going to be her second 2-minute penalty. Okay, Lisa Reedy, it sounds like it might be that Lisa Reedy's coming off the court. I'm not sure if it was Lisa that got the first one or if it was Maya that got the first one, but there's at least been two 2-minute penalties awarded to the pair of Reedy sisters. And as I say that, I'll remind all of our watchers that a third 2-minute penalty would result in a red card penalty. And right where that player went down just a moment ago, it looks like there might have been a little bit of a wet spot on the court.
Yeah, bodies are flying. These are the times I really like being a goalie.
So we'll have a quick cleanup on the court, a reset as the referee heads over to the Puerto Rico bench to get everything and everybody on the same page. As we have a quick break on the action, just want to thank everybody again for watching. Hope you all are enjoying everything that you're seeing on that IHF stream and that you're hearing on our stream here on the Handball Show. Again, please be sure to not only like and subscribe so you'll be notified whenever we go live for these games over the next couple of days, but also please leave some comments, leave some questions, some critiques, anything that you got for us in the chat section. We'd be happy to answer some of your questions as we all get to watch some handball this afternoon. Looks like one of our first messages is another one of your teammates with San Francisco Cal Heat, Amber. Coco said hi. She said, good job. Thanks for everything that you're doing for us this afternoon.
Hi, Coco. Yeah, she's the glue that holds that club together. So, hi, Coco. Of course she's watching.
One question maybe an insightful viewer can answer for us. I know this tournament is being held at a high school. I'm wondering if this court was brought in specifically for this tournament, or does this high school have a fantastic handball court with no other lines on it?
It is nice to have a court that only has handball lines, and there are just about not any natural courts like that in America. I would say probably less than Viva saying zero.
I'm saying I'm saying goose egg on the amount of pure handball courts in the US. I don't know if anybody in the comment section can tell us if they know of one hiding somewhere in the corners of our country.
Fremont isn't solely handball, but it has the paint, the
It has
6 meter
paint.
paint
Okay, that's
and
nice.
the dashes. And I've never seen it before.
Okay.
So Fremont is up there, but no, it's not solo.
So I can having played for Cal Heat and also the Carolina team handball club, I can say that those are at least two clubs in the United States that do have those specific handball lines drawn onto their court, not just drawn, not just taped, but actually painted permanently onto their court. So as handball players, we appreciate very much when schools and colleges are able to invest in this game that we all love so much to give us a nice permanent place to play. So someday in America, we might see a court or an arena or a facility that is just made for handball. But for right now, we're really proud and happy to have a couple of clubs in America that provide us those places to play. So right now we've got a timeout on the floor. America's still holding on to a 4-goal lead with just under halfway to go here in the second half of game two. Again, yesterday America had an amazing win where they actually had to come from behind to get a 1-goal victory with no time left, well, just about no time left on the clock, as Isabella De Cruz was able to score a goal from the 9-meter foul throw in with just a few seconds left on the clock to get the Americans the win against Mexico in their game one, 22-21. And then yesterday, Puerto Rico lost their match against Canada, 38-22. So as we stand right now, Canada will have a game coming up later on this afternoon, but it could be positioning America and Canada to face each other later on in this tournament, both having undefeated records. So that could be a pretty big matchup coming later on down the pipeline. But right now, Puerto Rico has got the ball down by 4. These Mott boys are getting their steps in today, back out on the floor again for another quick cleanup.
Pointing at something.
I think they're calling in for reinforcements.
Too sweaty. Yeah, that sport court though, I mean all gym floors, but when that stuff gets wet, it
It
is
turns
slick.
into an essential ice rink. Like it's
Yeah,
like
it's bad.
very slippery.
And it doesn't feel good to fall down and get hit on, so I'm
So
Special
sure.
kind of burn as well. Yeah, not a normal floor burn.
while they're getting a little bit of cleanup right here, we can kind of talk about what some of the stakes are for this IHF tournament. So right here, this IHF trophy, this is the continental phase of the qualifications. I believe it's going to be two teams from this phase and this section that gets to move on to the intercontinental phase, I believe. Is that how it is, Viva? Could you correct me?
Yeah, so the top two teams from this tournament will qualify for next year's World Championships. So all the teams playing right now are U19, so 2006 or younger, which will set them up to be 20 and under in next year's World Championship. And then the number one team that qualifies out of this tournament goes to the intercontinental phase and will play against teams from around the world.
Thanks so much for that clarification. I definitely needed that. That was a goal in the last play for Puerto Rico, so they've closed it to 3 right now as the Americans are trying to get a little bit of offense running right here and unfortunately turn it over with a ball out of bounds. They're back quickly on the defensive side, and they needed to be because Puerto Rico ran it right down the court and gets a quick goal off the American turnover. Little bit of head hanging, I felt like, on that last offensive turnover for America, and Puerto Rico took advantage of it and came back quickly to bring it now to a 2-goal deficit. How does that make you feel, Amber, when you can kind of see your defense jogging back, but you can see the offense sprinting back into your face on a fast break after a turnover?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I understand because at a certain point, there's nothing they could do and they might as well rest. But yeah, it doesn't feel good. Not at all.
This
America
is
still has
where
the ball on the offensive side. They'll move the ball right to left, and a nice attack right there for the Americans. Unfortunately, not able to get the goal as it's pushed wide right and over the crossbar.
Yeah, 18 minutes into the second half. I'm curious to see if the US will sub any players. It looks like Maya Reddy's got her hands on her head, might be asking for a substitution soon, so we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, so far for the Americans, they've been a pretty set bunch of maybe 7 to 8 players that have been running on and off the court so far today. So again, fatigue definitely could be a factor as we come into the last part of this game that has gotten pretty close all of a sudden. Just a 2-goal game with Puerto Rico trying to make it a 1-goal game. Ball's loose on the floor. Referee has his
Goalie
hand in
almost
the
had
air for a
that.
passive play. Yes, the goal is stretched for her, but she was unable to get to that top left corner to get the save. And now it's just a 1-goal game with America coming down looking to make up a goal. From the left wing, shots up and off the near post and out of bounds. So now Puerto Rico coming down the floor looking to tie this game up after starting the first half down by 4 goals. They now look to tie it up for the first time since the first half.
Yeah, we can look back to the 6-on-5 or the penalty that Puerto Rico took when they scored 2 goals on it when they were down, and they've been coming back ever since.
That really was one of the catalysts for this run for Puerto Rico is whenever they were down a player, but still were able to make up 2 goals during that 2-minute time frame. Just under 11 minutes left, a stoppage of play right here, and it will be a stoppage that's now awarded to the Americans as they'll run it down and try to get something set. Saw a lot of empty crosses between the center back and the left back to try to allow for that left back player to get. And there's that empty cross that I mentioned right there. So now we have our left back in the center back position trying to get ahead of steam, running down the center of the offense. Hanovic will remain in the center back position. That's Schluter in the left back position now. And they'll do another empty cross, and this time it'll be Schluter running down the middle. She fakes right, brings it back left, and she gets it. Kind of saw that getting set up from the very beginning as she repositioned herself to get a little head of steam. And now Puerto Rico runs it back down the court. And a penalty has been awarded as the Reedy sister had her feet inside of 6 meters on the defensive side, and that's going to be a 7-meter shot coming up for Puerto Rico. So again, the game is still tight. The Americans were able to get 1 goal back to get that 2-goal lead back. But now Puerto Rico again trying to bring it to a 1 goal. And as kick saved out of bounds, it's going to be off the sideline. So it'll remain Puerto Rico ball as Sofia Manchaca was able to kick save it off of the sideline for the Americans. And Puerto Rico will again try to come back and get 1 goal out of this possession.
And that was Sophia's third straight penalty stop, so I think That's a fantastic record. You can't really hope for any more than that.
A lot of
Yeah,
times,
let's just do that.
just like in the NHL, and Amber, you can speak to this. Sometimes if a goalie can get hot, that's really all the difference a team really needs.
Yeah, especially in a tight game like this, you want your goalie to want the ball, you know. Sometimes you don't want the shots coming at you, but when you're hot, say, yeah, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. So I think we're in a good spot.
After that last little secondary break attack for the Americans, another penalty has been awarded. We'll see if it's Hanovic or Reedy that goes in this time. It looks like it's Hanovic is going to keep her spot here.
And Ia's mother was a goalkeeper in Norway's first division, so I'm sure her mom's taught her a few tricks on where to shoot or how to sight the goalkeeper out.
That's
I
not
like that
fair.
mother-daughter bond there.
Hanovic went for that lower right, but unfortunately she shot it off the post. And it's going to go back to Puerto Rico now, still down 1 goal with just over 8 minutes remaining here in the second half. Puerto Rico's got it. Oh, nice fake. Nice goal. You saw, I believe that's Maya Reedy. Maybe Lisa Reedy was kind of given that traveling symbol. It looked like it could have been a few extra steps, so the referees let it go. And now it's a tie ball game, 23-23. And with that tie game, the Americans will take a break, a timeout on the floor right now. So 23-23, again, it has been a great game overall, but in the second half, the Puerto Rican team has had a little bit of the upper hand. Exactly what do you feel like has been the big difference for Puerto Rico as far as them being able to not only make up some goals, but now to be in a position to maybe take the lead on this next offense possession, Viva?
Well, I think in American sports, we say basketball is a game of runs, and I traditionally don't think of handball as a game of runs, but Puerto Rico's certainly been on a run in the second half, scoring 4 more goals than the U.S. team. So I think U.S. needs to put a stop to that right now before it gets too out of hand.
So they're coming up on the offensive side. They just called a timeout. Any insight as a former player with this team, Viva, on what you might be able to, what we might be looking for them to come out of this offensive timeout?
Yeah, I think they'll probably run a Yago set with the pivot coming and flipping to the other side, and one of the two bats coming in for either a strong shot or a one-on-one move. That's what I'm looking to see.
So, like she mentioned, that Yago set, we'll see if they're doing that empty cross where you'll see the left back pass the ball to the center, and they'll just trade places now. Ball's not live, even though that's kind of what we just saw on the screen right there. But we'll see if Schluter kind of ends up. So right now we've got Schluter in the left back position, number 11 right here. And we see the switch signal being given. And here it comes. Hanovic to the left back and Schluter at center. The attack happens on the right side to create space, and it works no problem. So easy set, a nice ATO for the Americans after the timeout play converted. And
Issa
Puerto
de
Rico
Cruz getting going after a couple PKs after the first half.
Puerto Rico with the ball now down 1. This game has been tight in the second half, and it remains tight now as the score is tied up again at 24. See if the Americans try to put a little bit of pressure on the Puerto Rican defense or if they will set it up again. In all seriousness, Viva, I feel like the set that they just ran until you stop it, we're going to keep running it. You're going to see Schluter take the center back position again here in just a moment. We'll see if she's able to get the work going towards the right side of the American offense. Nice little fake right there. It was a good pass back to the left wing, but the pass was not on target enough. And Menchaca had to come all the way out of the goal to kind of support here, and the Americans still end up turning the ball over on that possession. And as the score is tied right now, the minutes are dwindling down. Every possession is going to become more and more key. These teams have just about 5.5 minutes remaining, maybe 6.5. Hopefully, this clock is lined up so that will put us at 6.5 minutes left. And that being said, honestly, I'm looking for both teams to maybe at absolute best have about 10 possessions apiece as Puerto Rico scores the goal, but There were steps on that scored intent, so it'll be a reset at 9 meters as the Puerto Rican player was fouled as she tried to score. 6 minutes left in the game, all tied up 24-24. United States of America versus Puerto Rico in a U19 matchup here in the IHF Continental Phase qualifier. Schluter with the ball on the left side. She gives it back to Hanovic, and again, the Americans turn the ball over, results in a fast break, and Vizcarrondo is able to score it and take the lead for Puerto Rico for the first time, I believe, maybe in the game. If not the game, certainly in the second half. This is the first time that they've had the lead. They've been down by as much as 4 in the second half, but now back up by 1. Same play coming up for the Americans. You'll see Hanovic switch places with Schluter, and they'll try to get the ball coming here on the right side.
I know Coach Thomas Backman is really telling his team to remain calm. There's still 5 minutes left in the game and just work for a good shot. Don't force anything right now.
I agree with not forcing. I would love to see nice shot right there for the left wing. That was Lucy Brascos, who was featured prominently early on in the game, has been a little bit quiet after she had a few left wing scores and a few fast breaks in the first half. That was a timely goal right now to get the score tied back up again at 25 with 4.5 minutes left. Puerto Rico's got the ball on the offensive side, and they're swinging it left to right. Number 9, Yadielis Barros is back in the game for Puerto Rico. So if she was that injured player before, it seems like she's back and she's okay now as she scores it for Puerto Rico and retakes the lead.
These are the times, this is why we run liners and do all the conditioning so you can still perform.
Coming up on this next play, I would love to see Hanovic be even more aggressive as she initiates this offense right here. You see her right there with the aggression as she sends it back to the left wing. Can't quite see what happened with the ball, but I was kind of looking for that. They had run that same play a few times to the right, and she kind of swung it back to the left for the opening. So that was a good attack, and they were able to get the score there on the right side after all. Score tied back up at 26. It'll be a foul called against the United States, and Puerto Rico will reset at 9 meters. 3.5 minutes right here. I'm not saying anybody should be getting anxious, but you might want to start sitting up in your seat a little bit. There's that meme where in the first part of the game, you're kind of back in your seat playing the game. But this time, it's time to lean in a little bit, focus a little bit. We'll see what these two teams are able to do as this is a very tight game here. And Puerto Rico able to score it again, 27-26.
Yet another nail biter for the United States. I'm sure they don't want to be in this position again, even though they had a successful result yesterday.
Nice slip and nice score for the American Circle. Tied it back up 27-27. Amber, I'd love to see a little bit of a different set right here on defense. It seems like Puerto Rico has gotten a little bit of a run going against this half set for the American defense. We'll see if they come out with anything special this time. It looks like they're flat.
Yeah, it seems like the defense is kind of settled into this is my position, this is what I do. I'd like to see people maybe step up a little bit in this tie game end of the game, make a play here. But fatigue could definitely be a factor.
2.5 minutes left. We're getting another quick mop-up situation going right here. Both teams, both in the Americas win yesterday and Puerto Rico's loss, scored 22 goals. So both teams have scored more goals this afternoon, both putting up 27 so far in the game. Honestly, right here, I'm going to go ahead and make the call. First to 30 wins.
Yeah,
First to
that's
30
probably pretty
wins.
good.
There's not going to be a whole lot of time to get a whole lot more goals, but if anybody gets to 30 right here with 2.5 minutes left, I bet that they're going to have a pretty good opportunity to win. With 2.5 minutes, again, you're really only looking at about 2 to 4 possessions left, maybe 3 to 5 for each team as the Americans come down. Hanovic resets, and she'll take it back to the center back position and throwing it right to De Cruz. In the backcourt positions for America, you've got Schluter at the left back. Hanovic now switching with Schluter as she goes left back. Schluter with center. We'll send it to De Cruz in the right back position. Player still bobbling the ball a little bit. And it's going to be a turnover for the Americans again. 27-27 right here. Under 2 minutes remaining now. I changed my mind. First to 29 wins.
As the clock goes down.
I think both teams are showcasing a little bit of nerves right here. Of course, it's the second game of the tournament, so they're still feeling themselves out, and of course, young players on both sides.
Yes, like I said before, not necessarily any reason to get nervous or anxious, but you can see both teams are pressing a little bit. Both are very, very aware how important one goal is in a tie goal game with just over a minute left. Looks like there's another turnover, if not blocked shot for the Americans, and I would love to see them settle down, run the same play that they've been going. You'll see Schluter and Hanovic more than likely switch places right here. Actually, the hand signal I'm seeing, I would not be surprised to see a wing player coming in, or looks like they're going to wrap around the circle.
Oh
Oh,
no.
fast break opportunity for Vizcarrondo, and she scores it for Puerto Rico. 28-27 now with 30 seconds on the clock for the Americans. I'm not sure if they have any timeouts remaining. If they do, I would not be surprised to see them call it right here.
Yeah, it looked like we were trying to do something different in the offensive set and just missed a small pass, but
Yeah,
they're
they
going for
did
it.
switch it out. They had been doing that empty cross in the back court between the center back and the left back, but this time they actually brought out Reedy from the circle position to do a quick cross and circle back in to try to create a little bit of confusion at the 6 meter line. But again, ball security has been a problem intermittently throughout this game for both teams, but that was a terrible time for the Americans for that ball security issue to pop up again. They'll have the ball with 30 seconds left, not in the exact same situation as they were yesterday, but certainly in a situation where they absolutely need a goal. Viva, can you confirm whether or not in this tournament at this position, if there is overtime, or could the game possibly end in a tie? I'm not sure on that.
I believe that the game will end in a tie. When we played the last iteration of this tournament back in 2023, we ended our last game against Mexico in a tie, and they ended up winning first place due to goal differential. So I believe it's the same situation.
That's brutal.
Yeah, so it'll be a big game right here for the Americans who are have a 1-0 record, and the Puerto Rico team has a 0-1 record, losing yesterday for Puerto Rico and winning yesterday for the Americans. So you would like to get a little bit of separation and go ahead and hand Puerto Rico their second loss and getting your second win. But if they split, that can make things a little bit tight in the standings as we get figured out who's going to be advancing going to the next phase of the IHF.
I would look for the US to probably hold for one possession these 33 seconds, try to get a shot as close to the buzzer as you can, maybe one rebound, but try to prevent a fast break on Mexico coming to, or on Puerto Rico coming to the other end.
So we're not going to get that wall shot, you think? We want to hang on to the ball.
Yeah, but I don't know. We've had luck with the block shot in the final second, so maybe we'd like.
About how long does it kind of take before the referees do call passive? If you had to just give it a ballpark, 30 seconds?
20 to 20 to 30 seconds. And again, it depends. They're tighter with that passive call later in the game, like now. For example, if Puerto Rico had the ball, you might only get about 15 seconds of them kind of like passing around and not looking like they're trying to attack. The Americans should have a little bit more time than that right here. But honestly, I would look for them to do the same thing that they have been doing, although it looks like they're still in the second circle. They've got a left wing shot, perhaps not quite. Still looking around for the best shot. Puerto Rico is moving very, very well in the defensive six. Passive play has been, passive warning has been held up right here.
Oh, is it a 7 meter shot?
I'm not
No
excited.
way. And we're not going to get to see it.
Wow.
Ah.
So the
So
Americans
we,
had 7 players on the court on that last offensive possession. They went without a goalie to try to create a little bit more confusion. They
And
had
it
seven
seems,
players on the court, and you've got Ia Hanovic to tie the game now with no time left on the
oh,
clock,
wow.
essentially. And she scores it 28-28. Puerto Rico will try to bring it up quick, but there's nothing that could be quick enough because in this running clock, is going to be all done for this first game, or excuse me, for the second game for both teams. So 28-28 is going to be the final score. And the Americans again needed every single second to not lose the game, which for the second day in the row, they have successfully not lost. Unfortunately, unable to get the win today, but they also did not lose. So the Americans are now going to advance on in this tournament with a 1-0-1 record as they tie today against Puerto Rico, who will now fall to a 0-1-1 record. So, very exciting finish to our 2 days in a row for the American team. They like these high intensity games right here that are coming down the wire. It's kind of a game where both teams can be satisfied with the tie, but you kind of get a feeling that for Puerto Rico, they might feel a little bit better after coming back from behind by 4 goals in this game to be able to walk away with the tie. What do you think, Viva?
Exactly. You saw Puerto Rico celebrating there. I think there's definitely different emotions on this result. The U.S. team a little bit disappointed that they gave up their 4 goal lead in the second half, and the Puerto Rico happy that they could get a tie against the United States.
Yeah, again, that tie, although much better than a loss, is going to put the Americans in a position where they are not going to necessarily be the top of this grouping as we progress in the tournament. I believe, Amber, they have Canada up next.
yes, I
Mexico and
believe,
Greenland.
what's that?
I believe Mexico and Greenland are up next. Canada plays the last game of the night each night as they are the host, so it should be a very interesting game to see how Greenland really plays after that blowout victory yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday against St. Kitts and Nevis, Greenland had over 80 goals scored. So that was a really, really big output for Greenland. And I'm just checking to see the Americans' next game tomorrow is going to be against Canada, and that will be at 8 o'clock Eastern and 5 o'clock Pacific tomorrow on Friday. So we had another great day. The Americans again came out strong in the first half, and then in the second half, kind of had a tough stretch where they gave up a couple of um, unfortunate goals when they were actually up a player, but surely they'll be able to reset tonight. They will be facing Canada tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We'll see if Canada is able to get the win tonight against St. Kitts and Nevis, and if they do, they'll have a 2-0 record since Canada beat Puerto Rico yesterday. So again, it's been a great afternoon of handball. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Anthony Scott Knox. We'll get ready to sign off here for Viva Chris and Amber Kaufman. We really, really appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to us while watching the game, perhaps in 2 different windows on your screen. Please be sure to like and subscribe to the Handball Show. So right before we go live tomorrow, you make sure that you get notified whenever we go live for that Canada versus USA matchup tomorrow at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good afternoon. This is the Handball Show.